let's get going. Cool. So let me just close my million tabs. Sweet. So, Liam, we get to go, or whoever is recording, or is this even the right way to share or /record?
No, we're good.
We've got 2 recordings going with the new setup to test for redundancy, so hopefully it'll all be good.
Okay, cool. Let's get going. So, season 3, episode 8. I called this one clinical execution, and we'll dive deeper into why that was the case here. So, purpose and agenda. Basically, everyone knows the drill. I just want to give a quick chance. Does anyone want to unmute and show their face and say hi? We love to see other humans than the same ones we see all the time. Please don't be shy. Nope.
I'm not going to show my face because I'm in bed at the moment. But I'm Josh, kind of crypto mates with Hugh and Liam. But yeah, cool. Really excited about the project. It seems really cool, especially after that scammy stuff that happened with Ribbon. It seems like a good solution to a lot of those sorts of problems that people are having at the moment. But yeah, hi.
Yeah, no, great. Likewise. Thanks for saying hi. Appreciate you stepping out of the darkness. Cool. Let's carry on. So, overview.
Oh, Kerman, there was someone else that wanted to say hello, I think.
Sorry,
let's give them a chance. Let's see. I think I saw them unmute.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Sorry.
I feel like show and tell, like when you're in elementary school and people are like, not sure.
Does anyone else?
Well, yeah.
No. Okay, cool. Well,
Okay, sorry.
No stress. Thanks for calling that out. Sweet. So, overview. Last week we spoke with a certain chain to deploy DeFi passports and go across chain on that ecosystem. Really excited to see how that progresses through, but of course, like it's not finalized until we're happy with everything being locked in. And then of course, yeah, the Ribbon Finance. We're doing a Ribbon Finance airdrop analysis and how the passport can actually help solve that problem. So that's meant to be this week. Why is that last week? Okay. 6 a.m. things. And then, of course, I think more importantly, what I want to talk about was, that's right, the Ribbon Finance airdrop. And essentially, what we're seeing, the kind of early stages is like identity and reputation as a narrative starting to become more of a pressing need. Like, this isn't a nice to have. This is like, the space needs this because token distributions are getting wrecked. We can't have more capital efficient protocols and whatnot. So the implications of what we're doing are really far-reaching. I think that Andreessen Horowitz article, which got shared in the Discord somewhere, presents like a really good bull case for the need for on-chain reputation. So, yeah, the new UI and brand is looking really nice and crispy, and this week we'll be releasing that. And then we had a lot of discussions internally about what we need for custom scores going live sometime during November. And that's kind of where the name for this episode comes in, around clinical execution, because we're just getting very, very micro about how to get really, really good at execution. So anyway, this week, entire team is aligned around getting scores live, and this is going to be really, really cool. Especially we were just on the call with the designer, and you're basically going to be competing against everyone. It's like a video game for everything. You'll know how you rank relative to everyone else on certain dimensions, how many people are ahead of you, how many people are behind you. So get ready for that. Then this week we want to go live with new brand and UI, and more importantly, we also want to get that Visor pool up to start algorithmically managing the Uniswap V3 liquidity. So we're having issues with liquidity given that there are these defined ranges in Uniswap, and it needs manual adjustment, which isn't ideal. So hopefully by tomorrow or the day after at the latest, that will be live and up, and there should always be ample buy-side liquidity. And on the sell side, there'll be a bit as well, but anyway, there'll be a Llama post hopefully that explains more policies around how the DAO thinks about liquidity. And then also just like more work on getting this foundation structure up that's working on in the background. And yeah, that's kind of high level updates of mine. shout out to Hugh for getting things done well. We've had a really great start this week, and all these little things that you guys see that need to be done, but nobody's had time to really cater to. Hugh will hopefully be smashing through all that, so excited there. Liam for getting deep into the Etherscan world and finding logs. I've been on some of those calls, and it's a fucking nightmare trying to figure out what's going on with these contracts. So Liam is the score master internally, and you'll be seeing this more and more. Any scores that get developed will be going through Liam. And then just a huge shout out to Knight Templar, John, Daniel from Llama, to helping out during the $0 coin gecko bug. I woke up Sunday morning on like a 7 a.m. and to just like chaos in the Discord. So they're holding down the fort really well, and just wanted to call them out and appreciate them for that. Challenges we're working through. So just clarifying the situation around the ARCx liquidity. We know it isn't ideal. We hear you. We know it ourselves, and we're doing everything we can to push that forward as quickly as possible. So just a process we have to work through, but once we solve it, it'll never be done. And it's just we're the first DAO to really use Uniswap v3 in the way that we're trying to use it. So unfortunately, this is just the burden you take of being the first one to experiment with something, but we also get the benefits once it goes right, aka not spending a fuckload in liquidity mining. So yeah. Also, we want to start figuring out, like, and this is something that I'm working with Hugh more closely, is showcasing all the incredible work we're doing to more ARCx holders in the wider community. So, I mean, Kel will touch on it later on, but like some of the algorithms and risk analysis stuff we're doing is really, really cool. Like I've been in DeFi for many years, and I'm just like blown away by the stuff we're doing internally. So I really want to create more opportunities for that to become clear to you guys, and for you guys to feel the excitement that we feel internally. And then, yeah, it's just preparing for the launch of custom scores. We just want to make that product really crisp, because that's kind of what this like vision of creating DeFi's reputation layer. This is really kind of the thing that makes that real. So anyway, enough blabbering on mine. I will pass it to Gabe on the engineering side.
All right, thank you, Kerman. So on the engineering side, as Kerman mentioned, last week we implemented the new UI with the new branding as well. Everything is good to go. We are not blocked, I'd say, for because of this cross-chain infrastructure. We will release this at the same time. We finished the implementation of the cross-chain infrastructure, and we're gonna start testing tomorrow. And if everything goes well, then we're gonna release everything at the same time. So that's gonna be cool. At the beginning, we're still only gonna support Ethereum, but during our testing, we are testing cross-chain end to end. Additionally, last week we worked on a new payment-based waitlist contract. So right now it is a staking contract, but we're looking at using a smaller fee, but payment-based. The Kerman is going to come up with details, but that contract is ready to go as well. It's not deployed yet, but it's ready to go. And also we worked on a really nice, like super cool passport, 3D passport widget that you're gonna see with the new UI. But I'm not gonna show a demo because it's really, really cool to actually interact with it. So I'll let you guys be the judge of that. By the way, this passport.js library is public. It's a public NPM library, like I wrote there, and it's to be used by our partners as well. More details to come soon. I really apologize for the lack of information regarding these things. We're like everyone is like neck deep in the code, and nobody has time to like write reports on like how to use these things. But as soon as we stabilize, we will be able to write like all the readmes and documentation for other developers and etc. Cool. So this week we will release the new UI and the cross-chain infrastructure, like I said, and we are starting to implement the custom scores. We're going to implement the custom scores page, but we're starting to implement the implementation for the custom scores infrastructure. Again, it's like an iceberg, so there's a lot going on in the back to support this whole thing, but as soon as we release it, it's gonna be nice. And finally, we will have a more complete product, I would say, where it's tangible and and it's going to be really cool to see grow. So there's that. Shout out to Classicus and Alex for their really hard work on the back end. It took me the full day to review their code for last week for the cross chain. So like there's a lot of things there are a lot of moving parts, but it's high quality, and looking forward to get that merged in. So good work, guys. And challenges is a big chunk of the backend will change, and the challenge would be to ensure the testing is done well and the system is stable while we work on these other features, so that we don't have to be disturbed and work on bug fixes essentially. So yeah, that's it for engineering, and then an engineering update post will come up soon.
Cool.
Next up, Kale.
Cool. Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Data. So as Kerman mentioned earlier, there's a big focal point now around custom scores. So fortunately, we've spun up the data team. There's people all running around and building stuff. So that's while they're building things in the background, doing this risk modeling and getting the smart people to do those things, I've been moving the custom score needle along. So already we've got a POC together. I'm reviewing with Liam and Kerman what those scores look like. Do they make sense? Et cetera, and just setting up the infrastructure. So it's somewhat forgotten to the community, to the web team, but I'm processing a terabyte of data. That's no small amount. It requires a lot of smart engineering. So it's just really thinking about how does that infrastructure work? How do we make sure that the execution both isn't expensive and is also very quick and maintainable and scalable? So that's what I was doing last week. And as I said, risk modeling, monitoring MLOps done by the other ML engineers. That's pushing along really, really well. So for this week, it's about just verifying these custom score outputs. So making sure they look right, seeing that there's no real bugs there, continued risk modeling, Ribbon Finance. So Kerman mentioned that we're going to do analyses on the Ribbon Finance situation and just show how would ARCx kind of help solve that issue and approach that issue. And lastly, our OG ML engineer will come back this time next week. So Stuart has been away for the last month and a half, just finding himself in the forest, basically, and he'll be coming back. So that would be very, very cool. Shout out. So Sonia and GC, they've been drinking from the fire hose. So working with me, it's like pouring about 5,000 lines of code and many, many months of work into their brains in about a week. So big shout out to them for putting up with me while I did that. Big shout out to the web engineers. You guys have been helping me just pipe stuff. Like I'm good at piping data. I'm not good at piping services and things together. So a lot of help just making sure that's maintainable, it's scalable, it's stable. So big shout out. That's GT and Kyle. And then lastly, Liam and Kerman, as Kerman was mentioning, we've been working really hard on just parsing logs, understanding how everything works, how to build these scores, and kind of trying to streamline that process going forward. So big shout out to them too for working with me and us all through working together. Big challenges. So one of the really big challenges I'm noticing is this automation of QA. So doing quality assurance, like testing and things, is a little bit different in data compared to web. It's not as deterministic. And I'm noticing that still untested code is being pushed into release branches. I take full credit. That's me pushing those untested code. So it's really just figuring out how do we prevent that happening as this goes live and it's starting to be super, super crucial infrastructure. That's one challenge I'm working through. How do I actually make sure that's stable and tested? And lastly, streamlining custom scores. So, already adding just one new custom score, I was seeing duplication, like an order of magnitude increase in duplication, and it's quite slow and there's a lot of back and forth and checking things. So it's a case of how do we streamline that process so new scores not only are added internally, but in theory could be added by the community quite easily. That's kind of all the stuff that I've been working on. So Kerman, if you want to jump over. Cool thing, now we have these other people other than myself, other people can focus on stuff. And this was an interesting first look at some of our data. So GC, one of our new ML engineers, was kind of exploring the data. And this was a really, really cool analysis. He looked at the total net worth of all of our passport holders. We're worth 685 million net worth, all of us together. So Very, very cool. This analysis was done maybe half a week ago, so maybe the passport holders are slightly lower. Maybe all of our net worths have gone up or down. But on average, we're worth $500,000 each. So, of course, there's going to be some mega whales or giga whales that are skewing that distribution. But very, very cool. It just shows how this protocol and this project isn't for the hacks and the kids. It's for like giga whales. So I thought that was really, really interesting. I'll try and start showing more and more content because I know that my world is very abstract and all I do is look at command lines and, ones and zeros, but I'll try and show more and more of what we're doing in the back because we're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. That's it. I think Liam's next up with the BD.
Yeah, cool. Let's flick it over.
Hello, everyone. So last week, really, I mean, thematically, you've probably heard custom scores is sort of happening, and it's becoming real. I can feel it. We've got some great things on the horizon there. So it's really just about understanding what's that consultative approach to make Kale's job really easy and give the right expectations to our partners. So they're completely aligned with, okay, these are the sorts of things we need to do to work with ARCx. This is the sort of things we need to be able to provide and we need to think about. And then essentially it's all templatized and systematized. And we can start to stabilize that process. So there is a feed into BD there that we're figuring out. We had the Furo Combo partnership launch. So put that out and I'll report back on some skin sales. I do believe that the one sold quite quickly. I put like a little ARC logo in it and it just looked rarer than the others. So it just went immediately. Which was funny. And then, just meeting with more networks to explore ecosystem plays multi-chain. And Kerman touched upon that earlier. What we're learning is the nuance of the deals with some of these players. So you can get the blessing and the Twitter announcement, which we all love, sort of in the system and saying, yeah, we'll fully support you with a Twitter announcement, all this stuff. But what you really want is buy-in from the ecosystem. And that typically, takes a little bit more time. So we want to make sure that we're actually, when we pull the trigger and you see the Twitter announcements and, number go up or whatever, essentially we're also, we've got a basket of dApps that we're actually launching with on that network, and that we've got the blessing of the network and things like that. So there's just some things that we're teasing out there and learning about this week moving forward. So, firstly, I'll jump to shout out for Kerman, helping with product development clarity. It is a massively hard thing to get all these moving parts and to get enough certainty to sort of commit to a targeted week release. It's actually really hard. Kerman's been doing a really good job of me essentially over in BD land, essentially a monkey, not knowing anything, sort of saying when, to talk to the customers. And Kerman's actually done an incredible amount of work to just get all the context, understand all the effort, and have sort of targeted releases that we can have some sort of confidence into. Helps so much. So the reason I brought that up is that I'm doing another pipeline refresh and updating all of our prospects on the new timeline, and then sort of guiding them through that approach to create custom scores. So that's really the big focus this week. And really my morning after this call is going to just be you should see my Telegram. It's going to be fun. So, and then really so custom scores, what's this? What's the alpha leak here? Okay. So there's a few scores that we're looking at around custom scores. So the first one is an ARCx score, a native protocol score. You can read more about that on the forum. I've definitely taken the feedback from the community. It is going to include snapshot participation, which is actually really cool. So that'll be something that's tied to your wallet address that actually isn't technically on chain. It is sort of anyway. So snapshot, that will be something that comes in with the ARCx score, either in the first or So awesome there. XP score is another one that we're looking at. So these are all like ARCx score is definitely something that's happening. The others are a little bit more sort of happening but less defined. Second one is the XP score, which is essentially like an updated degen score, but a little bit more advanced. More info on that later. But essentially, how experienced are you? Also, like we've got a good relationship with the Omis. I'm definitely a fan of their community as well. So 3-3 score is one that we're sort of speculating on as well. Who knows? So yeah, and then working with partners for customs. I've kind of repeated that already. Also, big shout out to Kale for helping me actually go under the covers a bit more and supporting me as I trawl through Etherscan and try and understand things. And yeah, so really helpful, and I'm really enjoying the dynamic that's forming between me and Kale and syncing up on what this is all going to become. Challenges, we've heard custom scores 1,000 times. This just managing the opportunities. Now we've got some dates. That's really my big focus right now. And then it's going to be bringing the documentation over the fence as it comes, based on all the ones that we're lighting up this week. That's everything from me.
Cool. Yeah, super exciting week. And I think the coming weeks as well, because it's like the number one thing has been with passports. It's like, what can we do with them? It's like you'll be able to do a lot with them or see a lot about who you are on chain soon. So super, super exciting. And over to Hugh on operations.
Hey everybody, I'm Hugh. For those who don't know me, I've spent a good chunk of the last few years working in various different startups and ventures in kind of various roles, and it kind of makes sense with that background to think about what I've been focusing on. It's just a lot of random stuff, but wanted to just call out the things that you might have observed over the last week. One of them being this beautiful branded slide template that you see here, as well as video backgrounds that you may or may not be able to use on Google Hangouts. Something else that maybe is kind of flowing off from what Liam was just saying about getting kind of clarity on product timelines. Something that I've been working on passively is just building out a framework for thinking through how do we kind of manage our like content release. Obviously, there's like a lot of dependencies with other roles like in the team. So getting really good clarity on like when and what and then how. So not only like pushing out the content, for example, setting up a few comms this week around the new UI and brand, but also like how do we make that like a systemized process that's really scalable and like easy to repeat in the future. So that's the stuff that I've been working on last week. This week, my to-do list is piling up, and I implore you to kind of add to it when you think of like random things and you want it to be prioritized. But like first thing off the bat is actually just this call itself. So we think about, we want to build ARCx into this entertainment factory. Like how do we actually start to make it, make our production quality better? So this call, which will be uploaded to YouTube, will have slight, very, very minor visual enhancements. But obviously that's our MVP, and it's going to kind of progress over time. Think in the future we'll have like proper streaming software where we can have, think like number of passports or TVL or some other metrics like live presented on the screen, making it more entertaining and generally more fun. So that's coming in the future. Also, as I mentioned, producing the comms collateral for the rebrand and UI uplift. There's just a few things here. Just the standard stuff like the Substack article, tweets, etc. Then alongside that like new site, we're actually wanting to spend a bit of time like revamping the FAQ section in the ARCx Wiki. So going to go through that this Arvo, and that will be like part of my day. Then going down that list, we've had this we want to get Visor up and running. So actually we want to think about like how do we do co-marketing, produce any kind of like like again Substack article or any other posts for that. And then down the list again, putting out an About Us page for our updated website. And then at the very bottom, but still, but not the least important, would be just resolving some customer service issues with skins. So we know that there were a few issues that came up around from different platforms and different prices and so on. So we just want to like make sure that everyone, you know, feels comfy and is, you know, like taken care of. So that will be on my plate, and hopefully for those of you who are in that bucket, you'll be hearing from me fairly soon. Quick shout out. I just want to say thanks to everyone for welcoming me to the team. I'm super new, so still learning the ropes, and I appreciate your patience. I think that's coming down to the challenges as well. Learning a lot of new systems, and you know, still getting my head around the product. So thanks for being patient with me. But super stoked to be on the team, and that's it from me. So I'll hand it over to community.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, welcome in, Hugh. It seems like the community is very much liking your presence on this call. So, yeah, looks like you're well received even more broadly than the team. Pass it over to, I think, Liam for the community side because John went to sleep.
Yeah. So I'm just going to read straight off of this. So there's been some updates to the wiki page. So John's put up the tokenomics thing that was written up around AIP4 that got passed. Working through the power score. So there's obviously some contentious naming between John and I's view of the score. I'm happy to go with him though, because he has all of the lore and culture that's going to be contained within this. So he gets that. And then so it's new testing flow with Demir. So that's part of how we're revamping the product process, making sure that the product is of the highest quality, super well tested. If you are on the call, you are in the chat, and you're not a product tester and you want to be, shout out, let me know. It's as good as done. You'll be a product tester. You'll see it before anyone else. And then, okay, I presume John's also been talking to Visor to help with that, manage with the liquidity situation. He's going to be helping Angel out with some data analysis work. Shout out Angel, I see you on the call. Very cool guy. Looking forward to meeting you IRL one day. Doing. And then and then just some more testing. So Angel, you're also getting a shout out from John for getting on board straight away with the new analysis project, and then the challenges that John's working through and the community generally is the liquidity management. We hear you. We're working on it. We're, like Herman said, we're really pushing into new ground with how we're doing this. We've moved away from the pool 2 model, and you know, there's just things that we're learning there. And then communicating how important reputation is to the crypto space. So I think this is really contextualizing the value of our product with the space generally, you know, given recent events. And I know John is actually very, very deep in the Ribbon community. He is one of the Ribbonati, I think. So he's very close to that specific thing that's come up. We're also going to be getting some Discord bots, by the way, that track passports and skin floor price. So that's just something as well. That's it. And Daniel messaged me, Kerman,
Cool. Okay, sweet. Yeah, we'll skip over Treasury. It's just this beautiful slide at the end. So yeah, I guess like quickly riff on these community calls, as you briefly touched on, are gonna get like really fucking cool as time goes on. So we want to make you guys part of the experience of these calls, so it's not so much of a one-way thing. Probably get some cool YouTube live streaming, maybe even Twitch. But if you guys have any ideas, let us know what you'd like from these community calls, or how we can like maybe better communicate, or like make these more fun and entertaining. We're super open to suggestions, and we can make anything happen. And that is the ring to end this call. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye.